Donald Trump stood in Mar-a-Lago and told big oil lobbyists he would do their bidding for a $1 billion campaign contribution. So Doug and I wanted to stop by today to thank everybody and to express just what we know to be true. You all have been working so hard. The people in this office have been working so hard. And you have given so much of yourselves, long days and nights, what you are sacrificing in terms of the time you could be spending with other friends and other family. And you're giving yourselves to our country because you love our country. And
Joe's listening on the other side like, you motherfuckers are clapping a little too hard, okay?
So today, just right after Joe made his announcement, it was important for me to continue with his role of leadership in this office, of like him, who has said for many, many, many months, and I say it today, thank you all so very much for what you are doing
thank you.
and what you will continue to do. So let's applaud the team. And I know it's been a roller coaster, and we're all filled with so many mixed emotions about this. I just have to say, I love Joe Biden. I love Joe Biden, and I know we all do, and we have so many darn good reasons for loving Joe Biden. And I have full faith that this team will be the reason we win in November. You all who are here. And as Julie always says, and I will quote the great Julie, we are one team, one fight. One team, one fight. And she's been an extraordinary campaign manager. She's going to continue in this role and see us to victory in November. And we are all here because we love our country, right? And we believe in our foundational principles. We believe in freedom and opportunity and justice, not for some, but for all. And so we have 106 days until Election Day, and in that time we have some hard work to do. And as JOD always reminds us, we can do hard things. JOD has been such an incredible leader of this team, and that is why I have just asked her to run my campaign, and she has accepted. And so over the next 106 days, we are going to take our case to the American people, and we are going to win. We are going to win.
Jen O'Malley Dillon.
Now I'm getting back to you, Joe. I will tell you.
What was it? Ricchetti and Jen O'Malley Dillon are the two top campaign advisors.
Vice President to our President Joe Biden. Joe's legacy of accomplishment.
What is going on?
Just over. And I'm going to tell you, I'm a firsthand witness to all this work. I would sit with Joe in the Oval Office while he would bring members of both sides of the aisle and talk and listen and help them see what they may have in common and how we can actually work towards solutions. And because of their confidence in Joe, these accomplishments occurred. Joe has stood up for democracy at home, and he has stood up for democracy abroad. This should be the last day she defends
Joe Biden.
And he has always
She has to do this year because it's like the campaign changing, campaign headquarters,
and many of you
and its campaign is changing hands.
I came to know Joe through his son, Bo. Bo and I worked together.
This is the last day, okay?
And back then,
never
Bo
again.
would often tell me stories about his dad. And he would talk about the kind of father and the kind of man that Joe Biden is. And he would talk about the qualities of his father. And the qualities that Bo revered the most are the same qualities that I see every day in our president. His honesty, his integrity, his commitment to his faith and his family, his big, big heart, and his deep love of our country. And I don't need to tell you all, you know Joe's background, right? I mean, he grew up in a middle-class family in Scranton, and he has never forgotten where he comes from. And so, again, I am a first-hand witness from being with him in the Oval Office to the Situation Room and seeing him on the global stage with world leaders. President Joe Biden fights for the American people, and we are deeply, deeply grateful for his service to our nation.
Can you see it? I'm watching. I'm watching.
I knew it.
We love you, Joe.
You're the best, kid.
And let us be very clear, Joe is not done. Far from it. He knows there is still more work to do, and our nation will continue to praise his bold and visionary leadership as president. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
And it is my great honor to have Joe's endorsement in this race.
You sure do.
And it is my intention to go out and earn this nomination and to win. So in the days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election. You know, as many of you know, before I was elected as Vice President, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California, and before that I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And in this campaign, I will proudly put my record against his. As a young prosecutor, when I was in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office in California, I specialized in cases involving sexual abuse. Donald Trump was found liable by a jury for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's largest for-profit colleges and put it out of business. Donald Trump ran a for-profit college, Trump University, that was forced to pay $25 million to the students it scammed. As district attorney, to go after polluters, I created one of the first environmental justice units in our nation. Donald Trump stood in Mar-a-Lago and told big oil lobbyists he would do their bidding for a $1 billion campaign contribution. During the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big Wall Street banks and won $20 billion for California families, holding those banks accountable for fraud. Donald Trump was just found guilty of 34 counts of fraud. But make no mistake, all of that being said, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. There is more to this campaign than that. Our campaign has always been about two different versions of what we see as the future of our country, two different visions for the future of our country. One focused on the future, the other focused on the past. Donald Trump wants to take our country backward to a time before many of our fellow Americans had full freedoms and rights. But we believe in a brighter future that makes room for all Americans. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. We believe in a future where no child has to grow up in poverty, where every person can buy a home, start a family, and build wealth, and where every person has access to paid family leave and affordable child care. That's the future we see. Together we fight to build a nation where every person has affordable health care, where every worker is paid fairly, and where every senior can retire with dignity. All of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Because we here know when our middle class is strong, America is strong. And we know that's not the future Donald Trump is fighting for. He and his extreme Project 2025 will weaken the middle class and bring us backward. Please do note that. Back to the failed trickle-down policies that gave huge tax breaks.
My controversial opinion is that this is Rizless. Okay, this is Rizless. This is not what you know. It needs to be better than this. This won't take it across the finish line.
Which is a right for every American. America has tried these economic policies before. They do not lead to prosperity. They lead to inequity and economic injustice. And we are not going back. We are not going back. You're not taking us back. Our fight for the future is also a fight for freedom. Generations of Americans before us have led the fight for freedom, from our founders to our framers, to the abolitionists and the suffragettes, to the freedom riders and farm workers. And now I say, team, the baton is in our hands. We who believe in the sacred freedom to vote. We who are committed to fight to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence. And that's why we will work to pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban. We who will fight for reproductive freedom, knowing if Trump gets the chance, he will sign a national abortion ban to outlaw abortion in every single state, but we are not going to let that happen. It is this team here that is going to help in this November to elect a majority of members of the United States Congress who agree the government should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. And when Congress passes a law to restore reproductive freedoms, as President of the United States, I will sign it into law.
We the people.
Indeed, we the people. So ultimately, to all the friends here, I say, in this election, we know we each face a question: what kind of country do we want to live in? A country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law?
Yes.
Or a country of chaos, fear, and hate?
No.
You all are here because you as leaders know we each, including our neighbors and our friends and our family, we each, as Americans, have the power to answer that question. That's the beauty of it, the power of the people. We each have the ability to answer that question. So in the next 106 days, we have work to do. We have doors to knock on. We have people to talk to. We have phone calls to make. And we have an election to win. So, are you ready to get to work? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we willing to fight for it? And when we
Saying she's Rizless is giving women aren't funny. Like, I don't know, she's just not selling it, bro. What do you even mean? What do you mean? She's saying the damn thing. I think you understand exactly what I mean. Like, yeah, saying the lines doesn't carry across the finish line. Okay? Just simply saying the lines didn't help Hillary Clinton get across the finish line either. Yeah. Yeah, no, but you're right. I am, of course, misogynistic. And that's why I'm saying it. Oh, I mean, it's still better than Biden because she's objectively not dying. So there's that. But it's certainly not impressive enough, because while Donald Trump is a very unpopular candidate, a very weak candidate, okay?
Democrats are rallying behind Vice President Kamala Harris as the party's frontrunner for the presidential nomination, and their enthusiasm is generating a wave of fundraising for both the party and Harris' campaign. Since President Joe Biden announced the end of his re-election campaign, Harris and the Democratic Party have raised approximately $250 million through online donations and major donor commitments. The Democratic fundraising platform ActBlue has processed $106 million in contributions to Democratic candidates since Biden's withdrawal, according to an automated tracker. It is not yet clear how much of this money was allocated to House and Senate campaigns and how much went to the former Biden campaign, now rebranded overnight as the Harris for President campaign.
Kamala Harris, in order to captivate a lot of the voters that have left, and has done a decent job by just simply not being 800 years old so far, is going to have to do a little bit more than just saying the lines. Anyway, don't you think she's quite better from 4 years ago? What is she supposed to do? Dance to Brad Summer songs? I mean, we'll see. We'll see. She doesn't have the baggage that Hillary Clinton had, so obviously that's not a apt comparison. She started off strong with the, I've prosecuted people. Like, she's trying to use the attorney general prosecutor background to an advantage. Like I said, it's going to be a convict versus cop election. I'm not entirely convinced it's a super solid narrative. She's not good. She's just better than Trump. Yeah. This chat is lived up at the moment. Oh no, for sure. Curious who would be a female politician who meets the risk standards. I think Whitmer, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Summer Lee, Cori Bush, Rashida Tlaib, Katie Porter, if we're moving outside of like the ideological boundaries. Anyway, I mean, she doesn't have to have a banger speech at the end of the day, but it is like pretty generic. Yeah. It's bad, generic, lame message, just like 100 years old. Millions of Americans don't believe in anything she's talking about because their lives are so much worse under the system since COVID. I think that, I mean, this doesn't mean that she doesn't have a shot. Like I said, Trump is a bad candidate, right? Hogs are unironically claiming they were using AI Biden voice.
It was surprising, and it was hard for you to hear, but it was the right thing to do.
I love that half of chat was saying that too. I mean, I was memeing about it, but of course, when I meme about some shit like this, conservatives are being very real about shit like this. Her job is not to entertain you. That's an L take. Dude, that's awesome. It took approximately 24 hours for liberals to immediately jump the Hillary Clinton lines. She's running for president. Her job literally is to entertain me. Okay? Her job is to captivate me. Her job is to captivate you. She's running for president. Shut the fuck up. Nothing should be taken for granted. And this kind of attitude is exactly what's wrong with the fucking Democratic Party. That's so funny. Like, you're just objectively wrong when you say her job is not to entertain you. It's a campaign staff. It's a message to the campaign staff. She's limited by what she's supposed to say in this situation. Obviously, it's supposed to direct still back to like Joe Biden in some ways, but overall, I think like, so you're looking for a black woman to shook and save your you? What? Come on. I forgot to run the top of the hour ad break. So there's no way these are actually ad break debates. What would it take for you to back Kamala? You mean shook and jive for me? Is that what you were trying to say? Shuck and jive? Is that what you were trying to point to? Yeah. Good take, man. Some people got to take this seriously because they're not millionaires residing in the Hollywood Hills, my good sir. This might be entertainment to you. You just don't want to fuck her, Lamau. Why not give her a chance? I am going to fuck. I'm Brian Kill Me. I'm Brian Kill myself right now. What is happening? What is going on in this fucking dumbass chat? What the fuck is happening? This is actually insane. There's like so many fucking 7-month subscribers, 10-month subscribers, 30-month subscribers being like, you must be racist and sexist to say that her message is not very captivating. That's awesome. Wow. That's awesome. I'm Brian Kill Me. It's going to be a long 106 days. Oh, yeah. That's great. The instincts that you have currently, he said that as someone on our side, not the sexist one. No, the instincts that you have right now that immediately cause you to cast aside every other time you've heard me say things that you agree with. Okay? The instincts that you have right now that immediately cause you to say, well, there must be some cynical reason as to why Hassan is saying this. He must have some secret, previously uninitiated, unheard of anti-black sentiment that we just landed on right at this very moment. Those are bad instincts. You need to make sure that you never have those feelings again. Why do you assume your viewers agree with you, Lamau? I don't assume random viewers agree with me, but I would suspect that someone who has been a 7-month subscriber at the very least doesn't secretly think that I'm harboring resentment towards black women, and that resentment just all of a sudden came out after I said Kamala Harris's last speech that we just listened to was not very effective. You can disagree with me. Many people do it all day, every day. They just don't immediately make assumptions that I'm cynically, secretly a closeted fucking racist anti-woman person. Okay? Perhaps we can make a distinction between the two. Is that possible for chatters? Yeah. Anyway, here's a 3-minute ad break right now for the many long-term community subs that are you saying you're not even a little bit wondering if it was an AI voice? No, I don't think it was an AI voice. He also literally was there and listened to the call and responded to it. So it's ridiculous. Objectively better than Joe Biden, not a carcass, able to deliver a speech, just not able to deliver a speech well so far. Also, my biggest fear in this situation was that she was going to be like 2019 Kamala Harris, the Kamala Harris that, had to drop out, the Kamala Harris that didn't actually win anything in the primaries, the Kamala Harris that was not even looked after by the liberal Democratic Party primary voters, especially because if you want Donald Trump not to be president, okay, I don't want Donald Trump to be president, but if you also don't want Donald Trump to be president, the expectation from your president, your presidential nomination, your presidential nominee is supposed to be high, okay? I've followed you for years, but your valid critique of her speech has gone too far. I don't think you're secretly a racist. You just had an L take, and that's okay. You're human, not always right. Camilla's job isn't to entertain you. If the race would be about the best entertainer, Trump would win. Trump did win because he was the best entertainer to some respects, but that's not what it is. The race should be about policies is a wonderful fucking prospect, but Americans don't vote on policy boundaries. They vote on vibes, okay? And as far as vibes goes, Kamala Harris has to deliver a more convincing speech. That's it. I think she would do better in a debate stage than she does as like a campaigner, I guess. But you guys are wrong if you think that the average American is like thinking about this. The average American is thinking about this from the perspective of policies. Policies are meaningless if the person who is pushing those policies is not a good communicator of said policies. You, as the presidential candidate, have to be the number one convincer of Americans on those policies. The bully pulpit is one of the most important parts of the presidency. Okay? Being able to inspire confidence in yourself, in your ideological movement, in the things that you want to do, that is what the voters will respond to. I can't believe I'm having this conversation, but that is how it works. Okay? Radfam libs are going to be up your ass for the next few months. Yeah, I don't really care. Like, what do you mean? I'm a fucking Bernie bro. Remember? I was a Bernie bro. I was already a racist, white supremacist, woman hater because I wanted Bernie Sanders to be the president, you know? Oh man, what will I do? I really do hope that that's not the number one reaction that liberals have to people criticizing Kamala Harris, especially from the left. She's not supposed to get up there and make fucking jokes. That's not what I'm expecting out of her. But she just basically took it one step above Joe Biden, but given that this race is still close and Kamala has to prove herself, something she has not done in a very long time, she has to go above and beyond in the upcoming days. I think that this will still, the fact that she's not dead, the fact that she's young, these are going to be immediate improvements on the polls, I suspect. Okay? But there's only 100 days. Okay? So the first 30 to 40 days are pretty fucking significant. In comparison to Joe Biden, you know, it's pretty good. If she keeps this level up, then, you know, it'll be a close race. What about the record-breaking fundraising in just 24 hours? Yeah, no, I'm saying that happened because people did not want Joe Biden, and people are happy with a younger, more dynamic candidate. Now she has to show that she's a younger, more dynamic candidate who's not just going to read out talking points. Yeah, this is a good take, though. My wife is a liberal, but distances herself from the news. May or may not vote in presidential elections, but not outside of that. She wasn't going to vote this year. She's been getting excited and on the verge of tears, seeing some TikTok Kamala edits show up on her feed, talking about how cool it would be to finally have a woman president. Never had the same level of sentiment about Hillary. It feels like it'll be a common position. I think that is a common position. I think that a lot of the base of support within the Democratic Party that left, okay, will come back and will come back or at least be interested in the race. That's the reason why there's 53,000 people watching me right now. This is good. Okay? This is good. But this is an opportunity. It's simply an opportunity. It's not a fucking given. As far as polls go, 3 came out, leaked today, and all 3 show the same thing. Kamala tied, /down 1 to 2 points from Trump, but performed 4 points better than Biden straight up. So she already got a 4-point bump in one day. Exactly. No, that is expected. That is exactly what I expected to happen. That is exactly what I said would happen. And it's happening because people were not exactly upset with the Democratic Party in general. They were upset with Joe Biden's age. They were upset with Joe Biden being very obviously, you know, a president whose mental faculties have deteriorated. People were also upset that it was just boring old people. Like, most Americans are not voting on anything beyond, oh man, we're going to vote for 2 old, boring white guys again. You know, one that's chaotic, the other one's like, they're too damn old. So yes, there will of course be momentum in the direction of Kamala Harris. But that momentum, just like you said in the polls, is not going to be an immediate W. So if people thought Kamala Harris, a clearly better orator than Joe Biden, clearly not a fucking cadaver, is going to just carry the Democrats into an electoral victory on its own, you're wrong. I'm not voting for who is more rizzed up, but she's not rizzed up enough. Yes, Riz is a substitute word I'm using in this circumstance. It's also shortened for charisma. And it doesn't matter what you're not voting for. You are in the most politically autistic community of all time. What the fuck are you talking about? Do you think you represent the average voter? Have you talked to a real human one time in your life? Guys, never, and I do this all the time, and I hope you do this as well, never look to this community as a broad representation of American politics, okay? The median voter is a sea of contradictions. Never forget. The median voter who's undecided at this point will tell you stuff like, yeah, we need to do fucking mass deportations of all goddamn migrants in this country. And then in the same breath, will turn around and tell you, without even thinking about the contradictions, will tell you, yo, we should do amnesty actually for everyone that's been here. That is the direct opposite position on that issue. And yet Americans say shit like that all the time. Come on now. Of course you are not voting for who's more rizzed up. No, you're making lesser evil voting calculations. Okay? And by your estimation, understandably, Kamala Harris is the lesser evil, the clear lesser evil in comparison to Donald Trump. Okay? That's fine. That's understandable to make. That's an understandable calculation to make. Americans don't make that calculation demonstrably. Okay? If they did make that calculation, Hillary Clinton would have been president in 2016. Polls point to almost all the gains, by the way, from 1, undecided people, 2, RFK voters who abandoned him instantly as long as there was another choice, 3, black Latino voters who way prefer her. She performed 20 to 30 points better with black people than Biden already, which you called like months ago. Yeah. This happens a lot in this chat. People think you're explaining how to vote and not explaining how you think people will vote. They don't get you're a pundit. Yeah. I mean, my opinion on the matter is very different than the average person's. And I suspect your opinion on the matter is very different as well. But we're not talking about 50,000 people in this community. We're talking about the hundreds of millions of people who vote. Okay? Do I think that momentum will only build from here? Yes, I do. Hasn't she already lost people's trust by covering Biden's obvious signs of mental decay? No, I don't think people will. I mean, Republicans will try to hammer that narrative, but I don't think it'll hit home. That is a definite weakness, though, for sure. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. In one day, you've pissed off leftists for talking about Kamala in anything near a positive light, and also been called a racist misogynist for being slightly critical of Kamala. The internet is so broken. Yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit. That's why people still come in here. So it's a narrative, not real. No, I don't. Like, I think Biden has been pretty fucking sheltered, especially from Kamala Harris and damn near the entirety of his cabinet. He has good moments and he has bad moments. Obviously, if he didn't have some good moments and his closest in his staff didn't keep him isolated from everybody else, if he didn't have any fucking good moments, his dumbass campaign wouldn't have put him forward for a fucking debate. They literally thought that he was good enough to debate, okay? Unless you think there was a secret plot to show the world how bad his brain is, unless you think there was a secret plot to show the world by his own campaign to show the world how bad his brain is, I suspect that a lot of people saw him in his best moments and not in his worst moments, and probably cast aside, especially because the media wasn't placing an awful amount of emphasis on his bad moments and would just like hand wave it away, with the exception of right-wing media. We covered it quite a bit, but if you weren't paying super close attention until the debate, you were like, yeah, he's kind of old and he stumbles over his words from time to time, and not, oh my God, this dude is literally out of control. But yeah, this stuff is good. Stuff is really good for the Democrats. Over 888,000 donors in the past 24 hours. 60% are first-time donors. 43% new recurring donors. Kamala HQ doubled his following overnight. Game on. They raised $81 million in the first 24 hours. Okay? Like, that's incredibly impressive. That shows that the people were basically desperate, begging for anyone but Joe.
Donald Trump is hastily shifting his campaign focus to Kamala Harris, launching attack ads targeting her current record in office and her past in California, according to two sources familiar with the matter. After Joe Biden withdrew from the 2024 race on Sunday, the Trump campaign is treating Harris as a presumptive Democratic nominee, especially following Biden's endorsement, and has begun compiling opposition research dossiers against her in recent weeks. Trump-aligned political action committee, such as MAGA Incorporated, plan to unleash a wave of attacks against Harris, including a $5 million television ad campaign in the battleground states of Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Arizona, portraying her as the puppet master in the Biden administration. The Trump campaign is betting that Democrats fear backlash from their progressive base if they sideline Harris, who is on track to be the first black female nominee of the party. The Trump campaign was primarily focused on defeating Biden, and Trump's allies had even moderated their attacks to keep him viable as a candidate because they preferred running against him. The problem for the Trump campaign is that their strongest criticisms of Biden, focusing on his age and mental acuity, cannot be used against Harris. In fact, these criticisms could backfire, given that Trump is now the oldest candidate. Additionally, the millions of dollars spent by Trump aligned PACs on attack ads against Biden, including a recent one targeting his debate slip up about military deaths, have been rendered useless. According to sources, Biden stepping aside was the Trump campaign's worst case scenario for the 2024 election. Everyone from Trump himself to junior press aides had ironically been urging Biden to stay in the race. The Trump campaign had even issued an internal directive to ensure staffers did not publicly pressure Biden to drop out, fearing it might actually push him to do so, according to The Guardian. For weeks, the Trump campaign has been more concerned about running against Harris than Biden. Some senior advisors believe Harris is more effective in addressing issues like abortion and Trump's legal problem. Harris has been outspoken on abortion rights, which Trump has acknowledged as a potentially losing issue after Republicans underperformed in the 2022 midterms following the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade. If you found this video informative, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.